So good evening, everyone. This is Orina Bordhon from Contact Base. We are a social enterprise working for more than 2 decades. We are working on on the rights of indigenous people, women and children. And for the last 2 years, we have been working in a very interesting initiative, which is supported by US Consulate General Kolkata, on increasing women's participation and enhancing or strengthening their leadership in the economy. And in doing so, we have been very fortunate to have developed a very robust network of around 250 women entrepreneurs across eastern and northeastern part of India, Nepal and Bangladesh. And we are also having several stakeholders who are working in the women's economic empowerment from USA, Nepal, Bangladesh, and India. And for engaging these women entrepreneurs and to help them to support these entrepreneurs in several capacity building sessions and trainings, we have been conducting these Mentoring Monday, hashtag Mentoring Monday, which is a series of online sessions we have been conducting for the last 3 weeks. So the first online session was on brand building and product promotion. The second session was on supply chain management. And the third session is today, which is on digital advertising. So we are very happy to have with us a very distinguished academician and also practitioner, Professor Atanu Ghosh. Welcome, sir. Welcome on board. And thank you for agreeing and taking out time for us to interact with our entrepreneurs and to share some suggestions and tips on digital advertising. So let me take 2 minutes of your time to briefly introduce Sir. Professor Atanu Ghosh is presently the managing partner of Blue Beats Solutions, and he is also the faculty with Praxis Business School and a visiting faculty with multiple leading business schools, including XLRI, IIM Calcutta, IIM Udaipur, IIM Bodh Gaya, and Amritsar, IIT Kharagpur and Bhubaneswar. So he has a lot of these institutes. He is deeply attached and associated, and he is engaged in education, research, consulting, and training, especially in the domain of digital strategy. He is also a serial entrepreneur who has set up multiple successful businesses in the technology domain, including an IT service company and an e-commerce venture named Salt and Soap. Salt and Soap was sold at a profitable valuation in 2020. So Professor Ghosh is not only an academician, but also an entrepreneur. And that is why he is a very important role model for our women entrepreneurs, our budding entrepreneurs who are trying to establish their career in entrepreneurship. So we are very happy and welcome, sir. This entire session is yours. Before that, I would like to ask my fellow and senior colleague, Mr. Jamil Akhtar, who will be the moderator of this session. He has been instrumental in sales and marketing for many, many years. And he is a very important mentor of our team. So over to you, Jamil Akhtar. He will be moderating this session, and Professor Atanu Ghosh will be conducting this session for all of you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Orina. Thank you, and thank you for a very nice introduction of Atanu. I know him personally. He wears many hats. You have mentioned some of them. He is an authority when it comes to data science and analytics. He teaches this in many places, and I am very excited to actually, to be part of this session today. And Atanu, I have requested my colleague to join this session so that they can also learn. So good evening to everyone. I'll not take much time, or Rina has already told why we are doing this kind of sessions with the experts, with domain experts who are talking to our set of entrepreneurs who are part of our network. Digital advertising, digital marketing, digital commerce is a very new thing, but it is so pervasive. It is around us. We are surrounded by, we live in a digital world, as we call it. Okay, it all started when the advent of internet, then search engine. Initially, the penetration was low, but when people started accessing internet through mobile phone, it actually started growing. So along with that, the digital advertisement also started growing. So if I take you back 30 years, 35 years, India was a small economy. Not many brands were here. Business was slow. But with the liberalization, things have started changing rapidly. Today, we are a very, very big economy. And those days, when India was a small, we had very limited choice when it comes to advertising and media. We had only televisions, that too, 1 or 2 channels. We had few radios and prints. But today, in the last 20 years, since internet and search engine, and now with social media, this has rapidly grown. Today, we see massive explosion, especially after pandemic, when you see across categories, people are buying products online. So this has become an opportunity for small startups and business persons to exploit that new phenomena that has happened, which is this digital commerce, and along with digital commerce, the digital advertising, etc. Today in India, you must be knowing, we spend the advertising industry is 1 lakh crore, and of that, digital was very, very low 10 years back. But this year, digital has become #1 when it comes to the share. So it has left television, print, everybody behind. Today, this is the #1 when it comes to advertising. And and I don't have to tell you because we are all surrounded with digital advertising. Digital commerce has opened up opportunities. And when digital commerce has become popular, because of 2-3 important things. Because of cash on delivery, a very easy return policy, and attractive pricings. And because of that, there is a digital explosion as far as commerce is concerned. And many of you are actually, doing your business through digital commerce. Okay, and reaching out to the customers directly. Digital advertising has particularly 2-3 very key benefits. The rest, Atanu will tell you and give you some insight. But the good thing about digital advertising is that it can be very, very targeted. If you are operating in a small town or for a particular product range, you can target those customers, those locations, those demography, those set of people who are interested in your kind of products. So it can be very, very targeted. That's the first thing. Second, you can design your own campaign. No, you don't have to, with some basic understanding, you can design. You don't have to hire big agencies to do that. Obviously, if you hire a professional agency, it is going to help you, but you can design your own campaign. You can start with a small budget. You don't require huge sum of budgets for doing something that you will require for a print or television or something like that. You can design a Facebook campaign and reach out to your customer with some few thousand rupees. Another thing is that you get very quick response. The ROI, the return on your marketing investment is pretty good when it comes to digital. So these are 3-4 interesting and very, very big advantages that digital gives us. So I think we have a real good expert to talk about that how you can take the help, design your own campaign and reach out to your customers to sell your products. Okay. So with that note, I would like to hand over to Atanu to take us through the session.
I see it as a good opportunity to talk to people who are entrepreneurs, because as Arina said, that I have gone through the path of entrepreneurship. I've worked in large corporates, I've been on my own, and I've been in academics. So kind of, I know the challenges that typically an entrepreneur faces. At the same time, the opportunity that an entrepreneur has to leverage the digital channels. So I guess that way I try to contextualize it in for the entrepreneurs who are over here. I just want to first demystify the clutter around these few words like digital, marketing, advertising. And when actually Arina spoke to me, I only suggested that let's keep the topic as digital advertising and not digital marketing. Though usually when you talk to people about digital marketing, they mean digital advertising. The reason why I did not use the word digital marketing is because digital marketing is a much wider concept. It basically talks about all aspects of marketing that is transformed by digital technology. So it may be product, it may be price, it may be the place, and all other aspects of marketing. And that would have been a pretty vast topic to deal with within this time frame. So that's why I suggested that let's skip the topic as digital advertising. However, when you go out and maybe talk to people, probably will hear the term digital marketing. And in most cases, when they say digital marketing, they mean digital advertising. So it should not be a confusion that, okay, we learned about digital advertising, but what about digital marketing? Okay, so these terms are pretty much used synonymously. That's one. The second thing is that what we mean by digital. Again, digital is a very wide spectrum. So today, even a television is digital, even a radio that way is a digital, using digital technology. However, when we talk about digital advertising, we primarily talk about advertising on internet platforms. Okay, whether it's a website or a mobile app, social media, etc. These are internet platforms. So sometimes that's why alternatively people call it internet advertising. So that's also need to be clear, because we are not going to talk about here, let's say, digital billboards. So these are also digital technologies, but when we talk about digital advertising, we usually keep those out of the discussion. We typically talk about the way of marketing communication using internet. Okay. So with that background, let me share my presentation with you. Is everybody able to see my presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let us first think about, and that's why you'll see the term marketing and advertising used pretty, alternatively in my presentation. But here we are talking about primarily digital advertising. You might have seen this advertisement. This one. Anybody recall this face from this advertisement? It's a quick quiz question. It was a pretty popular advertisement 3-4 years back. Anybody remember this face? Okay. No. So this was a very famous advertisement for Google, where Google showed that, where Google showed that how two old friends from India and Pakistan got united because they could get connected over a sweet shop, which was listed in Google. Grandsons and granddaughters, they connected with each other. And basically the message was that this is how digital is connecting people all over the world. And it's a very, very nice advertisement. Yes, Tanushri, you're absolutely right. It was a Google ad. And this was a way to say that how digital is changing the way we communicate. So Jamil was talking about how marketing in the digital age is changing. Okay, has changed. And these are the some of the points Jamil has already made. But I thought of summarizing what exactly are the changes that digital advertising is bringing about. So here again, when I say marketing, I'm essentially meaning marketing communication. So primarily, you will see that earlier form of marketing or advertising was primarily outbound. By outbound, what I mean was that you have a product or service and you have to go out and tell the people that you have the product or service without knowing whether the person has the need or not. Okay, so in one way, communication was one way. You are trying to get the customers rather than the customer trying to find you. Okay, and the marketer's job was primarily to provide information, and there's hardly any education in the whole communication. And the reason for that was the fact that the signals of signals of demand, whether a particular person, individual is actually looking for the product or not, was not available to the marketer. A marketer did not know whether an individual is looking for a product or not. The marketer may know in a collective level, for example, before Diwali, people may buy new clothes, something like that, but you may not know specifically whether the person is looking for a car or not. Okay. So that way, obviously, there was a lot of money that was being spent on people who were actually not your target customers. Secondly, those who are not your target customers, they may get, they may feel intruded, and when they actually need your product, they may try to avoid it. Okay, that's typically what happens when you try to sell your product and push your products through. Okay. Can anybody think a way by which digital has changed this outbound into inbound? What would be an example of an inbound form of marketing in the digital world? I hope everybody is clear about what is an outbound form of marketing. That means you have some people who are possible customers, but you don't know whether they really need your product or not, and you are kind of broadcasting. As the picture shows, that you are trying to broadcast what product you have. It's a typical one-way communication, hoping that out of, let's say, 10,000 or 1 lakh people you're trying to target or or you're addressing, some of them probably will need your product. Okay, but maybe 99% will not. So ideally, I should be able to find out that 1% people who are likely to buy your product and only look for them. So try to communicate with them. Yeah, Kavita. So this is your existing client base is more for a repeat purchase. Okay, yes, of course you do. So existing client base is easier because once you have an existing client base and you are trying to communicate to them, you know their contact addresses, you know their email IDs, and it's easier for them for you to communicate with them. So I'm not talking about an existing client base. How can we do inbound form of marketing communication to people who are not necessarily your existing customer? Have you experienced that kind of thing yourself? Okay, online shop like Alibaba, okay, that is in Nepal. How do you think that is inbound? Okay, I'll come back to Ritu's point. We have all done Google search, right? So Google search is what? It is more of an inbound form of marketing. SEO is a technique. We'll see what the different techniques in Google search. Some are paid search, some are organic. Okay, SEO is an organic way. But if you look at any form of search in Google or any form of search in, let's say, Amazon or Alibaba, what essentially you're doing? You are trying to, so somebody is searching for a product, somebody is searching for a laptop, and when somebody is searching for a laptop, at that point of time, your product is being shown. Your product is not shown without any context. Your product is shown only when somebody is looking for that product. So that is an inbound form of marketing. So when you have your marketing communication done in an inbound fashion, your return on investment is much higher, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you don't need outbound form of marketing. You need outbound form of marketing because there'll be people who probably are not aware of your product, your brand, and you may need to develop that market as well. So you need outbound form of marketing, but at the same time, you have an opportunity to show your product to those people who are specifically wanting your product. So that is one major change that has happened in digital marketing, digital advertising space. Inbound marketing is very difficult to do in a traditional space. Okay, so this is one important change. The second important change is that earlier form of marketing communication was very conspicuous, on the face. Okay. Nowadays, of course, these things are changing. If you look at some of the advertisements, like the one that we saw for Google, they are not that conspicuous. They're more building brands. But most of the other type of advertisements are very conspicuous. The content was not, important in terms of creating a brand recall among the people. Right? But in digital, what happens is that you can write as much content as you want. In physical media, like a television or a newspaper, the space you have or the time that you have to talk about your brand is limited, is expensive. But in digital, that is much more easily available. In fact, it's almost free of cost. So if you can develop a good content that talks about your brand, you don't have to be conspicuous on the face about your brand. And that automatically improves the recall and the reputation of your brand. As I was saying that many times, and we have all faced this situation, and many times the marketing communications are unsolicited. We have faced this situation ourselves. Like some telecaller will call you. Now, why is the telecaller calling you, even though the telecaller knows or has a idea that probably out of 100 people the telecaller is calling, 99 of them don't need your product, need their product. The reason she is calling you is because she has no other way to identify who is likely to need the product and who is not likely to need the product. So she is doing like a carpet bombing. But in the process, what is happening? Maybe out of 100, one of them may need the product. Remaining 99 also 99 who may not need the product at that point of time, might need the product at a later point of time, offended because the telecaller is disturbing at the wrong time. And when the person needs the product, probably that person already would have got a negative impression about the brand because of the push sale. This is where the targeting comes, right? So if you are able to know who is likely to buy your product, who is interested in your product, you probably will try to approach that person rather than approaching many others. So this was the problem in a traditional marketing communication. In digital marketing, this becomes much more targeted. Previously, there was a separate department, typically the sales guys, who will be responsible for sales. But today, we are not talking about one department or one group of people who are going to do sales. Everybody in the organization is responsible for selling. How? Somebody will be writing the content. Even your customer who is writing a review about your product is directly or indirectly doing your sales. So you need to ensure that your customers advocate about your product. You also need to ensure that if some customers are talking bad about your product, then how to manage that. So that's a big challenge too, because previously, if somebody was not happy about your product, what will that person do? The person will probably write an email or maybe call you. So the complaint would remain between you as a seller and the customer. If the complaint becomes too big, if too many people are unhappy about it, probably it will go to the press. But today, that's not the case. Today, they will not necessarily come and just write an email to you. They may, but in addition to that, they will definitely go to the social media and talk about bad things about your brand. And they will not tell you that they have gone and spoken about your brand in the social media. So you need to figure out that whether people are talking good or bad. And there are so many such websites. So you cannot manually go and look for those websites. This is where analytics comes in. So there has to be softwares which will figure out whether people are talking good or bad about your brand. And also now with generative AI, there are softwares which will tell you how to respond to such things. Okay, now this is very important. There was a traditional set of intermediaries, like the newspaper, like the television channels, etc., who were acting as brokers between you and the customer to communicate. Today also there are brokers. Today also social media is there, Google is there. However, it is far more democratized. For example, if you have to create a content on Facebook or Instagram, there is no cost to that. Yes, if you have to promote it, there's a cost. But if you have to do it on Facebook, you can start small. And that's a very important advantage for entrepreneurs. I cannot place an ad at 500 rupees on a newspaper, but I can start with 500 rupees in Facebook or Google. Yes, of course, I will not I can't expect that I'll reach 1 million people by spending 5,000, okay, or 500. And if I'll reach only 100 people, but I can reach 100 people. But in a newspaper or television, I cannot even think of placing an ad at 100 rupees or 500 rupees. This is what Jamil was talking about. In case of traditional marketing, it is difficult to target. Why? Because the information about the people to whom to target is limited. So let's say a newspaper. When you are placing an ad on a newspaper, and let's say your advertisement, your product is meant for 18 to 24 years. Can you tell the newspaper that my ad will be shown only to 18 to 24 years people? No, because the newspaper will be going to every household, wherever the newspaper has some circulation. In that household, there may be 18 to 24 years people, or there can be older generation. The maximum that you can do is you can figure out that which page of the newspaper is read more by 18 to 24 years, or which newspaper is read more by 18 to 24 years, which channel is seen more by 18 to 24 years. That's all that you can do. Okay. But you cannot say that this advertisement will be shown only to 18 to 24 years, not to anybody else. This type of targeting is called placement-based targeting. It's not audience-based targeting. So you are targeting certain medium which is supposed to be seen or read by your target audience, but you're not targeting the audience per se. That's why your targeting is much wider. But what you do in digital marketing? In digital marketing, you also have the option of something called audience-based targeting. I can tell Google, let's say Google is a platform, it's called an ad network. Google is an ad network. I can tell Google that go and target my ad only to 18 to 24 years. Not only that, I can tell Google that go and target my ad to mothers whose children are between 0 to 2 years. Okay, because let's say I'm a baby product company, I want to target mothers who are having children 0 to 2 years. So when they go and go to a website, only those set of people are going to see the ad. Any idea how does Google know whether somebody is 18 to 24 years or somebody is a mother of 0 to 2-year child? How does Google know, or Facebook know for them?
Very interesting question.
Because these are very interesting things, right? How is Google knowing that, okay, it's fine that I want to target 18 to 24 years. I want to target those who are adventure seekers. I want to target who are travel buffs. So it's not just demographic. It is also based on your interest, psychography. Okay, so I want to target these kind of people. But how does Google know that, okay, or Facebook know? Okay, by the data you feed, Kavita says. Kavita, not really. So this is what is very important to know. Google is not using your data. First of all, you don't feed that much of data. Okay, we don't feed that much of data. Maximum when you create a Google account, what data you feed? Maximum, maybe your date of birth, that's it. Even that sometimes is not required. Maybe mobile phone is good enough. Okay, when you create your account in Facebook, probably you give the date of birth. Okay, so but you definitely don't say that whether you are an adventure seeker or not, whether you are a travel buff or not, whether you are interested in beauty products or not, whether you're interested in health products or not. So those kind of information you don't provide. Yeah, so Kavita is very right. So what happens is that we all as users leave some footprints. Now, we don't leave the footprints. Very important to know this, that we actually don't leave the footprint. What the footprints that is left is the device and browser that we use. So from our device and browser, we do some searches, we go to some websites, and there are certain analytical tools, analytical methods that are used to collect that data that will tell that whoever is using this device or browser, this person is most likely to be an adventure seeker. This person looks to be a cricket buff. Note that usually they will not know who the person is. They will only know that from this device and browser, such kind of behaviors have been demonstrated. So when the advertiser says that, look, I am looking to advertise to somebody who is an adventure seeker, Google says that, look, I know that these are the devices where such kind of usage has happened. And let me show ads to these devices. So that is why this type of targeting is called pseudo-anonymous. That means they don't know whether it's Jamil or whether it's Atanu or it's Arina who is actually searching. Okay. So do not be too much worried about the fact that your personal information is going out. Okay. But that does it. But what about something like Facebook? Okay. So in Facebook, there is, of course, Facebook has a lot more information because we provide Facebook many other information. For example, the images that we are, pictures that we upload, the kind of searches that we make, kind of pages that we like. So all these informations are available with Facebook, based on which Facebook can find out whether I am an adventure seeker or not. But does it mean that Facebook is going to give away that information to, let's say, an advertiser? No. Facebook just asks the advertiser that, whom are you looking for? Are you looking for adventure seekers? Fine. And Facebook will show ads to such people whom Facebook considers to be adventure seekers. So again, even though you're providing those information to Facebook, these informations are not passed on to the advertisers. Okay. It's kept with Facebook. So advertiser has to come to Facebook and say that I'm looking for adventure seekers, and Facebook will figure out who are the adventure seekers. Facebook's algorithm is going to push advertisement. So that's how it typically works. So don't be too concerned about the fact that your behaviors are going out. It's mostly pseudo-anonymous. Is it possible to de-anonymize it and find out who is the person behind these searches or these surfing behaviors? Yes, technically possible. And there are some percentage chance, some percentage probability, usually that is small, by which in a very circuitous route it's possible to find out that this person actually was Jamil. But that's expensive and that's a lot of effort. So probably people will do that only when the person on the other side is somebody very important. Okay. So that's why do not be too bothered about that. But this is a technique that digital marketing uses to target accurately. Okay. So when you say targeting accurately, this is, I mean, it's a pretty complex technical way of doing it, but in a very simplistic way, that's how we do it. And as long as you are able to identify your target audience based on the segmentation that has been done by these platforms, you can be rest assured that you will be able to reach such people more accurately than what will happen in a traditional media.
Atanu, in a way, on a lighter note,
yes.
So more and more social media posts that we put, more and more searches that we make, we actually, help Google and Facebook to identify ourselves, right? That's what you are saying.
Absolutely. I put it as not identify ourselves, but identify the
by the pattern, identify the pattern and segment.
The browser. So Google, for example, is more interested in the way searches are happening on the device, because advertisements will happen on the device and the browser. Okay, advertisement will not come to me. Advertisement will come to the device. If somebody else is using the device, that person will get that.
Right.
So Google is more concerned about what is the search pattern and surfing pattern of the device. Facebook, on the other hand, has a lot more information. So Facebook knows our exact pattern more accurately. But again, Facebook is not giving away that information to the advertiser. Next important difference is that in the traditional world, marketing, the advertising was limited in reach. For example, if I advertise on television, advertise on newspaper, it reaches a certain number of people. Nothing happens after that. Maybe those people who are very impressed about the product will talk about my product to few more people, but that's it. It will not go beyond that. The word of mouth is limited. On the other hand, we know in digital, especially in social media marketing, there's a concept of viral. Viral means that if I reach 100 people, those 100 people will have, each of them will have 500 friends. And at least if they share my post, if they like my post, they will share my post, and that will reach, if not all 500, maybe 100 of them. And that way it will spiral. And that's how things become viral. So essentially, if my content is good and it's something that touches the hearts of my audience, and if I'm able to target my audience carefully, I'll be able to have a much bigger reach, much wider reach using the same amount of. But important thing is that my content has to be something that people would willing to share, as well as it has to be targeted to the right kind of people. But definitely the reach can be much wider. Again, Jamila has already spoken about it. Traditional marketing is extremely expensive, especially for an entrepreneur. Usually a startup entrepreneur will not even think of advertising in television or in newspaper. However, in case of digital, you can start small. Now, that doesn't mean digital, you cannot spend more in digital. Okay, it's not that it's only for sports. So, you know, big companies spend a lot of money on digital. But point here is that you can be frugal in digital in the sense that you can start small. As I said, that if I want, even if I want, I cannot give a 500 rupees ad on a newspaper. Maximum I can think of doing a classified. Beyond that, I can't, because the minimum price may be few lakhs or at least few, tens of thousands. That's what the minimum charge of a newspaper ad would be. Television ads will be much more expensive. So I don't have an option. The barrier to entry is big. But here there is no barrier to entry. Here I can have an ad with 500 rupees. In fact, I can do it without any ad. Also, it doesn't cost me to create a Facebook page. It doesn't cost me to create a post on Facebook. I can do that. I can have a certain amount of reach without paying anything. Beyond that, I may try with paying something to Facebook or Google and reach a certain number of people. And if I'm able to target accurately, then I'll be, with that small amount of money, I'll be reaching only the relevant people. So that's why for startups, this becomes a very interesting proposition. Finally, there's a very famous quote from John Wanamaker, who is considered to be one of the early advertising gurus. Some call him father of modern advertising. And he is known to make this famous statement, says that half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half. So essentially what happens is that when you spend on a newspaper ad, to what extent you can track how much returns you received from the advertisement. Probably the maximum that you can track is to see how many households your newspaper reached. If it is a very high ticket item, like let's say real estate or a car or something like that, where you're expecting to get some inquiries, you may some way try to figure out that how many inquiries that this particular advertisement generated. But all types of advertisements are not like inquiries. Let's say if it's an FMCG product, people will not inquire, people will go ahead and buy. And you don't really know that if you have given an advertisement of soap, from that advertisement, how much was the increase of sales on the retail store. On the other hand, one of the advantages of digital marketing is that you can track the behavior of the consumers on the digital asset. What is a digital asset? Our website is your website is a digital asset. Your Facebook page is a digital asset. Your app is a digital asset. So I know that if there has been so much money spent on a particular ad, from that ad, how many people visited my website? How many people visited my social media page? I can go further down and say, so many people have visited the website, how many people actually purchase, if it is possible to purchase from my website. If not, how many people called on my to my call-in number. So it is much easier to measure the return on investment on the advertisement in the digital media compared to what you can do in the physical media. That obviously makes you increase your ability to do a course correction on your advertisement. Another very interesting thing about digital marketing is that you can change your campaign anytime. Unlike a print or a television campaign, once you have signed up to a television channel or a newspaper that, next, let's say 2 months, this is going to be your campaign, so many times your advertisement is going to appear, it is very difficult to trace back or to revert, because you have already committed that money and there's a contract that has been signed. And if you now don't honor the contract, there may be a huge penalty. So even if you, after the first ad or after 1 week, you find that the advertisement some way did not go right, you virtually don't have much choice. You have to, there's a sunk cost for you. But in case of digital media, that is not the case. You are essentially spending for every day, and you can stop your campaign anytime. You can restart your campaign anytime. You can change your campaign anytime. and there is no additional cost. So that's where your ability to measure and your ability to correct yourself based on the feedback of the measures is much higher in case of digital than in case of physical channel. Okay. So, this is how marketing was when things were very different. And these Facebook, Twitter, and all these LinkedIn, all these terms were pretty alien to us. But today, these are very different. And today, these have become mainstream. And as a result, today's marketing is disrupting all this conventional way of advertising. Again, I'm using marketing advertising synonymously. Okay, so this is the fundamental change in the landscape of advertising that is happening because of the advent of digital technology.
Thank you, Atanu. I think it's very, very insightful, very, very simple things, the way you explain. I think I personally have got a lot of inputs from some of the things that you have just explained.
How do we know which platform to use for our ads? Okay.
Right.
Well, first of all, Kavita, you have to let me first give you an idea about the various types of platforms that are there. Okay, there's a huge number of platforms. Okay, so kind of it's not that there's only a limited set, and these numbers are expanding. So if you look at, if I kind of divide it into 4 spectrum, inbound versus outbound, and paid versus something called earned. So just imagine there are 2 by 2 metrics. One is, we talked about the outbound form of marketing, the other is the inbound form of marketing. And on the other dimension, think of it as paid and earned. Paid means where you are paying the medium, okay, let's say Google, Facebook. Earned means when you're not paying anything, but you have done something because of which Google, Facebook feels that your product should be promoted, or rather your product should be shown. So if you look at this, inbound paid. Inbound means when people are looking for your product, you are gathering that information and you are trying to show your product at the instance when people are looking for your product, and you're paying the medium for that. So that type of marketing, that channel is called paid search channel. Alternatively called search engine marketing or pay-per-click advertising. So typically when you search in Google anything, you typically will see that the top 3 or 4 entries will have sponsored written up. So those are the ones where the advertisers have promised that they are going to pay to Google if they click on the ad. And below that, you will see there are some entries where no sponsored is written. Sometimes there are maps that are shown. So those are inbound, but they are not paid. They're earned. That means the advertiser has not, or the website has not paid anything, but Google feels that they should be shown, because Google also wants to show the searchers the right type of listing. So these are called earned inbound. And the listing that you get, which are not paid, are called organic searches. So these are 2 medium. Now, if you go to the outbound side, again, paid outbound. What are paid outbound? If you go to a Facebook, if you see an ad, sometimes in your Facebook newsfeed, you will see sponsored written over here, some ads will come. If you go to a website, let's say NDTV or a BBC, you will see some advertisements. These are outbound because you did not search for that product, at least at that point of time. And you're paying to Facebook, you're paying to, let's say, NDTV or BBC. Also, you may be paying to some platform which is pushing the ad into NDTV. And then you have outbound earned. What would be the example of outbound earned? Let's say somebody shared your Facebook post. That's outbound earned. And because it's earned because people have liked your post and they're sharing it. So you've earned that. Okay. And it's outbound because they're reaching a lot of friends. Now, when you go for paid inbound, you will go for paid inbound typically when the product or the category you are in is a mature category. That means people are searching for that. It is not meant for a category which is new in the market. Remember, you search in Google only when you know that the product is there. If you don't know that the product is available, you will not search. So that is when you will go for inbound. You will go for paid initially when you may not have a good organic rank. It's not easy to get an organic rank, because if organic rank was easy, then everybody would have loved to do that. Okay, because it's free. So when it's not easy to get an organic, especially when you are early on, you as a startup and when you are having a lot of other established companies whose organic rank may be higher, your organic rank may be low. And that point of time, you may have to go for paid search. But at the same time, you try for your organic rank, you try to register your company in something called Google Business Profile. A Google Business Profile is a place where you register your company giving your address, and that Google shows as a part of local business. If you want to build your brand on a longer run, that's when you have to advertise through outbound paid. So another very important form of outbound paid marketing is when you see ads in YouTube videos. Okay, so when many of you must have seen this, when you see any video on YouTube, before the video, some ad will, that is an outbound. Yeah, because you have gone, the user has gone, a viewer has gone to see a different video and an advertisement of some other video is being shown. So from an advertiser perspective, that's an outbound. If you have good content, confident that your post, your content is able to become viral, then you can go for outbound earned. So a lot of people will be sharing those posts or they'll be sharing those videos. How much money you are going to spend on each of these categories is a very involved exercise. So it's not a you can go for a ballpark figure like that. Okay, so that's where you need a professional expert to help you know your budget, or rather estimate your budget, figure out how much money you should spend in which of these channels. Okay, that it depends on the types of business. For example, if you're in a B2B type of business, where you're not, let's say you're manufacturing equipments or something like that, which you're selling to other companies, not to the end customer. In that case, probably a Facebook marketing will not be very useful. There you have to go for something like a LinkedIn marketing, and there the strategy may be different. But broadly, if you look at it, these are the 4 major channels through which you are trying to promote your product. And based on your product and your company, you need to decide how much money you are going to spend on each of this.
Since I know some of the entrepreneurs who are, here today,
Sure.
if we can take a case, simple case, and if you can explain them that how they might very broadly, they can plan. For example, even for Kavita, she's dealing with cheese, gourmet cheese, okay? And she's based out of Calcutta, and she's trying to sell it to some of the metropolitan markets like Mumbai, like Bangalore, etc. So those basically very, those who are affluent, those who have taste for cheese, those who are in those metropolitan market, etc. So this will be her target markets. Okay. So if she has to plan, similarly, many of our entrepreneurs are from Nagaland. They are selling products. They want to sell it outsides of Nagaland. Okay?
Right.
So many, and their categories, their products, their brands are not known to many people.
Right.
So in this kind of situation, and this is a typical situation, how they should approach, if you can give us some broad idea, I think they'll be able to relate to it, more.
Sure. Let me take Kavita's case. First of all, if you are in the B2C space,
Right, she is in B2C.
she is in the B2C space. The way you leverage digital marketing is easier compared to in a B2B space. It doesn't mean that you can't do it in a B2B space, but B2B space is a slightly complex one. Okay. Because B2C space is you are directly approaching the customer, and digital media is one way where you can reach a large number of customers. So there are a few things. Okay, first of all, I'm sure first concern of Kavita would be how to sell my product. As a startup, even before I try to build my brand, I'll try to sell my product because ultimately, I have to earn my day-to-day revenue. Now, when you are trying to sell the product, there are 2 ways. One is you can join a platform like Amazon. Usually that will give you the first fill-in because initially when you try to promote your product in the internet, whether it's a Google search or Facebook, you will face competition with established players like Amazon, who are probably, I'm just guessing, I'm presuming that Amazon also will have similar kind of products, or a big basket will have similar product. So let's say you want to advertise on Google, your competition will be these companies. So you have to bid. So all this, the way all these platforms work, there's a way of bidding. That means you have to say that how much you want to pay for every click, and you are bidding against, let's say your target audience is Mumbai, you are bidding against a big basket and Amazon and people like that, and obviously that's initially a little challenging. So the first way is to piggyback on such platforms like who are a marketplace. That means they are selling from other sellers, they're not selling their own product. So these platforms, so you can join these platforms and sell through them. However, this may not be your long-term strategy, because obviously this there's a commission that you have to pay to Amazon, and that may not be that may not be sustainable over the long run, because that amount of money is going away out of your margin and into Amazon's pocket. So parallelly, you have to build a brand. And the best way to build a brand for your type of product will be a Facebook or an Instagram. Okay, that is where you have to have good creatives, and you have to promote. You will need to promote your brand, and it may not cost you a lot, but you need to boost some posts of your product. So essentially, you have to create a page, a Facebook page. And in that Facebook page, you have to regularly create content. Content need not be only static images. Content can be videos. You have to make your content personal. So gone are the days when you just take some product photos and upload, because everybody does that. And then your product is no different from any other product. So that's where you have to think of Facebook Lives or YouTube Live, those kind of things, shorts, where you make this more personal. And you promote those videos, promotion of those videos. You can do it for 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees. Just start with that, boost those videos, and do it for us. Don't try and do it for all over India, because what is going to happen with the 500 rupees? Your customers may be all over India, but suppose with 500 rupees you try to promote all over India, the amount of impressions that each person will get will be very less. Okay, and nobody will recall the brand. So there's always a concept of threshold, the minimum number of impressions that your product may receive before somebody recalls your brand. If I see your ad once in 6 months, I'll never recall. Okay, so I have to see your ad at least few number of times before I recall. So you have to focus on few cities, or maybe even one city, where you don't know that the probability of conversion is higher. Okay? And spend that, let's say, 1,000 rupees a day or 500 rupees a day to boost your post, so that there's a brand recall. Once that brand recall happens, try and gradually reduce your sales through Amazon and try and sell through your own channel. So there's a build versus own dilemma. So either you build your own channel. So I don't know what kind of supply chain you have, or how you're planning to, let's say somebody orders from Mumbai, how are you trying to deliver the products, or even somebody from Kolkata, how you're trying to deliver the product. But assuming that you already have a supply chain in place, let's say you have tied up with third-party players like a Swiggy and all, who is going to supply, then all that you need to do is to get orders, okay, directly, not through Amazon, over a period of time. And how do I get orders? One is promotions. Through the promotions, people will come to my website. So you need to have a website where orders will be captured, and then you can use any third-party provider to deliver the orders to your customers. Okay, so broadly, that will be the way you need to go around as far as your type of product, a B2C type of product is.
Just an add-on, in case he or she wants to target a particular kind of customer in Mumbai, those who are looking for that kind of product, for example, cheese, or for example, say, organic spices, somebody who's selling from Assam, etc. Right. So how do I make sure those who are looking for those kind of product, I'll show my advertisement to them? If you can just add that also, I think that will be very nice.
Absolutely. So again, let me come back to the 4 quadrants that I said. So if you are looking for search, for example, okay, so one of the ways that you have to target is to identify the keywords which people are using to search for your product. Okay, so if your cheese, for example, is a now again here you have to look at your competition. Let's say it's a special type of cheese which is meant for a certain type of people, and you know that people will be looking for that kind of cheese. They will be searching with those keywords. Then you can set up your search campaign with those keywords. For example, let's say something I don't know, maybe some special type of cheese which you are providing, and people are searching for that kind of cheese. Okay, once you when people search for that, your ad should appear over here. So that's one way. The other way is so artisanal. Now, what you need to see is also this artisanal. How many people know about it? So these are the type of research that again, you need to be aware of it, but probably when actually the research is to be done, you probably need some professional help. Let's say artisanal. How many people really know that there is a cheese called artisanal? Okay, for example, I didn't know. So if I don't know something called artisanal cheese, I will not search, right? I'll just search for cheese. And all that I'll get is a cheese from Big Basket or Amazon. Okay, I'll never know that you are providing this cheese which others are not providing. Probably that's one way. So how do I know that people are searching? Now I may not be searching, but there are many other people who are searching. So there are certain tools through which you can figure out that whether people are searching for artisanal, how many times people are searching in a month. Suppose that search volume is high, then it makes sense for you to advertise with artisanal cheese keyword. Okay, and that way your job is slightly easy because you can differentiate yourself from the Amazons of the world and Big Baskets of the world, and you are targeting people who are specifically looking for that cheese. If not, then the job is slightly difficult because now people don't know you are not many people are searching for artisanal cheese. That means not many people know that there is a cheese called artisanal cheese. So they need to be educated. Okay, so they need to be educated, told that this kind of cheese is very good or whatever. That is where you have to go to outbound market, a Facebook or a YouTube video where you have to target people who may not be looking for artisanal cheese, but they may be looking for something similar. Okay, they may be looking for cheese, or they may be looking for milk-based product. They may be looking for healthy food, depending on what is good about this kind of cheese. Okay, is it good from a health perspective? So that look for people who are looking for healthy products. Okay, yeah. So you need to identify people who will value artisanal cheese and then talk to them about the value proposition that artisanal cheese has. Okay, and that value proposition has to come through your outbound marketing. That means it has to come through your video, it has to come to your Facebook post or Facebook lives and stuff like that. Okay, so that's how you need to think about going about targeting for your product.
Thank you, Atanu. I think you have explained this very lucidly. How to make those basics analysis before launching a campaign. Thank you very much. I hope this will be useful for everyone. Cheese was just an example. It can be for any product. In fact, most of our entrepreneurs who are currently limited into their respective markets of, say, a particular city or a state, now they want to scale up and actually want to go to either different parts of the region or different parts of the country. So each of them will have a target group, target set of customers in mind in terms of income, in terms of taste, in terms of preference, etc. So I think this example will be very, very useful for them, whether to use search engine, Google, etc., or to use Facebook, etc.
Yeah. In fact, you were saying that many of the entrepreneurs are coming from Northeast. So it would be very interesting to find out, let's say for your product, whichever product category you are in, what is the search volume of that product? in different cities in Northeast. Okay, because it might actually spring surprises. You probably are thinking that not many people are aware of the product, whereas actually a lot of people are searching. And from which city are they searching?
Right.
So that identification is very, very important. So that is one. The other thing I would definitely suggest, especially those who are having physical stores. Some of you might be having physical stores again in the B2C space. In that case, you must go and register yourself in Google Business Profile. Okay, just note down the name. You can just Google, and there are lots of YouTube videos that will help you to go ahead and set up your account in Google Business Profile. It's pretty easy actually. You just have to give your address and maybe a few photographs and my phone number. And what it will do is that when people are searching for, let's say somebody is having a restaurants in near me, or let's say a particular type of cuisine near me, it will pop up. Google will pop up your restaurant's name. Okay, if you maintain the content of your business profile correctly and exhaustively, this will be a big boost to this kind of physical business.
Okay, so but one thing that I have understood, whatever you have said, is that there will be a lot of tools that needs to be deployed to understand some of those things, like
Right.
search volume, which city they are searching, what they are searching, etc.
Right.
So I think as a marketer or as an entrepreneur, if they want to do it on their own, they'll have to understand, learn some of those basic tools, right?
Yeah. So see, there are so it is usually NGOs, I guess. Yeah. So Ritu, if I understand your question correctly, so you are in a sector where you are doing research for various NGOs, and probably your objective is twofold: that there may be NGOs who are not aware of your work, and you want them to make them aware of your work. And second is you want to build a reputation. So for you, you should not go into things like Google search, and your strategy will be completely different. Your strategy will be more to build your authority and reputation and brand in the digital space. So the first thing that you must do is create your LinkedIn presence, like your personal LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn page for your organization, and have content around that. Okay. Good research content. Obviously, I mean, you will obviously not disclose the paid research ones there. You will disclose whatever is you want to publicly share, because you want people to know what kind of research work that you are doing. Okay, you should concentrate on writing blogs. Okay, there are a lot of forums. There are a lot of LinkedIn groups where you should join and participate and try and help the members, because that helps you to create the brand building, create the brand for yourself. So this would be your approach. Okay, your approach will be very different from, let's say, Kavita's approach of selling cheese.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Atanu. Arina, yeah. I think we have
coming to the tools. Just I
right.
wanted to make a couple of points. First of all, many of these tools are free. Okay, so it's not that you have to, at least to start with, you have to buy tools. Okay, some of the tools are like Google Ads, which used to be called Google AdWords, Facebook Ad Manager, then Google Analytics. These are absolutely free tools. Okay. However, at the same time, these are a little technical tools. Okay, so you need to learn those tools. And it is not difficult to learn those tools either. Okay, there are lots of videos, lots of courses that are available. In fact, if you go to my company's YouTube channel, Bluebeaks, okay, so there you will see some good videos around this. I'll just type the name of the channel, so you can see some. You can just search this for this channel in YouTube, and you can actually see some videos on simple setup of Google search ad, Facebook ads, Google Analytics, okay, how you can do this. So these kind of things are available, and with a little bit of effort on your part, you probably would be able to learn it, because there's enough material available in the net today where it's possible to at least start. Okay, beyond that, of course, you might need some professional help, but I don't think you have to jump to a professional to start off. Starting off can be done very easily. And later on, once the business grows, of course, we might need professional help. There are many other tools which are paid tools, and those tools may need to be used. But to start with, these free tools are good enough.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think I have learned a lot today about some of the very interesting aspects of digital, because I have grown up in traditional media when I started my journey.
Yes.
So, like many of these younger entrepreneurs and my colleague, I'm also learning along with them. So it's a learning experience, listening to your lecture. So thank you very much, Atnuda. Now I would request Orina to close the session.
Yeah, and I'll share this presentation with Orina.
That will be so nice. Yeah, we can say it. Yeah,
a few more slides there, so people can go through it, and it might be helpful. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Professor Ghosh, on behalf of Contact Base, on behalf of all the women entrepreneurs. We are very happy, and it was a very informative session because you explained all these terms. Because we use many of these tools, but we are not actually aware that why we are using it and what could be the different alternatives. So thank you so much for sharing that sort of insight.